What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one wants to break down what's going on with NIO stock and talk about some very important information about the share price. Also going to break down what's happening with the deliveries, as deliveries are not the best this time around, but there's still a lot of potential for the upcoming months. I'm going to break down exactly why that is. I'm also going to be talking about a very bullish catalyst that came out for the whole market that could have some effect on NIO, as we have some big news that came out over the weekend. But before I do anything like this, though, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you put in $1,000, you're guaranteed 10 free stocks, and putting $5,000 guarantees you 16 free stocks. Any is guaranteed to be worth up to $2,000, and one is guaranteed to be a free Tesla and Google share. So this offer ends very soon. If you just want to get those 5 free stocks, you just have to put in $100. Once again, it's a 2-week offer. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with NIO. So when it comes to NIO, I'm kind of like a little apprehensive about how the share price is going to move, because on the 30 minutes time frame, we have a head and shoulders like pattern developing. But on the 4-hour time frame, you could technically argue that NIO has this potential cup and handle like structure, maybe like a inverse head and shoulders. Because when you zoom out like this, you will see that there's a possible inverse head and shoulders right here, which could lead to more upside for NIO. But I'm a little concerned that it may decline a little bit first before we get some kind of meaningful bounce, because if this inverse head and shoulders were to complete, we could still drop a little bit more towards this like 8.4 level and then get the bounce and start pushing back to $10. But the reason why I'm a little concerned is because of this news right here. NIO delivered only 15,641 vehicles in September of 2023, 55,000 for the 3 months ending in September 2023, with a 75% year-over-year growth. The total deliveries have reached 399,000, which is not bad whatsoever. But when you look at the chart, this is what it looks like. So looking at the numbers, 15,000 deliveries for September alone. And when you look at the charts, you could see that earlier during the year, their numbers were much, much lower than where they've been recently. But the thing that concerns me would be the fact that even though the latest number was the third highest in all of 2023, there's been a decline that's quite evident right here. We had 20,000 deliveries in July, 19,000 for August, and then we had about 15,000 for September. So a slight decrease. Yes, they're up quite nicely year over year, but I'm just trying to say, guys, I'd be very, very careful, very concerned about this. I don't know if this is going to lead to downside, because once again, it's a decline month over month. So we'll have to see. There's been a lot of talk about how their deliveries are slowing down and a lot of negative news about it. In my opinion, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I'm still very optimistic because, like I said in my previous videos, they tend to do very well during November and December. But for now, I mean, this is just not the best of news. Now, there was some good news that came out, though, and that's the fact that the US government has extended its funding bill by 45 days. That means the government shutdown has been avoided, at least temporarily, and they're going to delay it for another 45 plus days, which is going to keep the government open. This is bullish news because the fears about the government shutdown did lead to slowdowns. They led to lots of uncertainty. So we're going to be watching to see how this ends up affecting us. Looking at NIO, I just want to mention that we have this possible inverse head and shoulder structure. We have a nice cup and handle like formation that has been forming, and overall it was looking quite decent. But on the smaller time frame, we have a head and shoulders, so that makes me a little concerned. There's a chance that NIO may gap up and then start slowing down because of the decline in deliveries. And even if NIO does come back down to 8.8s tomorrow, I think we may test this lower level. It might bounce in the morning, kind of like gap up and bounce, then start slowing down. Even though if that's the case, I mean, we could still be forming a much larger cup and handle. So even if we see a little more downside, it could still start pushing back up to $10 in the future. So I am anticipating a potential pop and drop. So it could drop down to like this $8 level, 8.7 level, I mean, 8.78 to 8.8. Bounce off that, then start pushing for $10 later on. But I think it's very possible. And I think it's very important to be open minded nonetheless. Now, when it comes to SPY and the way that this is looking, we had a head and shoulders developing on the 30 minutes time frame. But the thing about this is on the 4-hour charts, we have a potential inverse head and shoulders like structure that could lead to more upside later on. So to me, it looks more probable that we're going to see some upside. And with the upside potential, I think SPY is going to break 430 in the future. I think it's forming an inverse head and shoulder instead. And I think there's going to be more upside potentially coming. To add on to this, I would say that for Apple has another potential inverse head and shoulders. So I think 174 plus is on the table. I think it's going to try to bounce too, thanks to the government news. The QQQ may do the same thing. We have a potential cup and handle now. Now we had a head and shoulders developing on it right here, but it may try to invalidate this now thanks to the bullish news. And this could be forming a cup and handle instead. We should be watching it push towards 365. Nvidia may turn bullish too. I'm going to be watching for this cup and handle and watch it push towards this 440 plus area. I think it's going to make an attempt to break out. I think that the market may outperform once again thanks to this bullish news. NIO could get dragged up. I think NIO may bounce in the morning, right? In the morning time, we might see NIO attempt to hit like 9.25 or so, gap up, then reject and start cooling off a little bit because it could be forming this slanted head and shoulder. And it may cool off a bit because there's technically a decline in deliveries relative to the previous months. So I wouldn't be surprised if we reach this 8.8. But overall, NIO could be on a much larger bullish trend. So even if we do cool off a little bit, this could still be a much larger inverse head and shoulders, and we could still see NIO bounce and hit $10 sometime in November. I still think it's very possible, so watch for a small decline first before this thing bounces. I'm still bullish on NIO overall, but I think that for the very short term, there is a risk of downside as deliveries to decline quite a bit. All right, so I hope this video was helpful for everyone. As of right now, so long as earnings are not horrendous and guidance is like not that bad for the month of October because we're approaching earnings season. As long as earnings are decent, there is potential for the market to continue bouncing, continue pushing to these high levels. If that's not the case, then it is what it is. But for now, I think there's so much potential for the markets. I just want to remind everyone that, especially when you're looking at SPY and like the markets, October tends to be a decent month, but November tends to be a lot stronger. There could be some instances where the market would like bottom in October before pushing up higher, but SPY still has, okay, on the monthly, a potential cup and handle forming. There's still a cup and handle, and I think that this decline in the markets has been very healthy. It's a good time for Wall Street to start buying in, start repositioning. And even if the market does decline a bit more, there's still potential for upside for the medium term. All right. So I do believe the market's going to bounce for the short term, and I think that there's potential. I forgot to talk about Tesla. Tesla has potential too, but the problem with Tesla is we have to wait for deliveries to come out tomorrow. So once deliveries come out, that's going to determine which way Tesla goes. It's going to try to bounce maybe to 255 in the morning. If deliveries are not out by then, and once deliveries come out, that's going to determine which way Tesla ends up going. All right. So, anyways, I just want to thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the weekend, and we will see what happens as time goes on. Thank you, and peace out.